Lupe Guzman is a single mother who has devoted the last 7 years of her life to Carl's Jr. in Las Vegas, Nevada, working the graveyard shift for rock-bottom wages. She'll tell us what it's like for a devoted Carl's Jr. employee struggling to build a future for herself and her family.
Good afternoon. I'm sorry, my voice. Good afternoon. My name is Lupe Guzman. I'm 47 years old, mother of 6. I worked at Carl's Jr. in Las Vegas for the last 7 years. I'm a shift leader on the graveyard shift, 5 days a week. After 7 years and more than 3 decades working in the food service industry, I'm only getting paid $8.75 an hour. In 2008, during a financial crisis, the job I had then was eliminated. My husband walked out on his family, so I attempted to support my kids on my own. I could not afford our rent and bills on my savings. We moved around from motel to motel. I can't even begin to tell you how hard it was. The struggle. We were on a waiting list for 4 years until we finally received a house in the housing community in North Las Vegas. I applied for Carl's Jr. for management, and I was hired right away. In the beginning, I was making $1.25 more as management, working 40 to 50 hours a week. I drove around to store according to my company needs. It was my job. It was difficult to get my children to and from school when I had no idea what part of the city I was going to be given that day. To make sure I could be there for my kids, I asked my manager, the general manager, to be placed at one store closer to my home. But that also meant they would pay me less. I got demoted. I'm no longer considered a manager, not even an assistant. And I am paid just slightly more than Nevada's minimum wage. I still do the same thing as management, just not getting paid. I count money, inventory, prep food, clean, wiping down tables, customer service. We do everybody's job. I lock up and I tend to the drive-thru. I doubt a robot could do any of those things. My store is located on the Las Vegas Strip. On Graveyard, after we close, it's just me and the cook. At my store, every dollar counts. Every order counts. Even when I'm supposed to be on break, I'm expected to be taking orders. The break that I'm allowed to sit down, we don't take breaks. And it's required by Nevada. Nevada law requires Carl's Jr. to give us all 30-minute uninterrupted, unpaid breaks. And for every hour worked, 10-minute break. But on the overnight shift, we don't get those breaks. We are expected to work during breaks. Even when we have mandatory meetings at my job, on my days off, we're expected to show up on our days off. It's been like this from day one. For example, after only a few checks, I noticed that 30-minute breaks were being removed. And I was still working those shifts. Instead of 7 hours on my check, it came out to 6.3. Every 2 weeks, I'm paid just under $500. Every dollar after bills and rent is accounted for. When there is money missing, I notice. For about a year, this has been happening. I said something to management, and it didn't happen again. By I never got that back pay for that year. And I know the other people who have not complained, who are still getting that 30 minutes taken off. They're not complaining, and it's still happening to this day. We're often understaffed, working doubles and overtime, but my store doesn't pay time and a half. Sometimes they just cut off the extra hours and put it on another payday. I had to wait to get paid for my hard work on another day. This isn't the first time or the last time I played the waiting game with Carl's Jr. The computer that tracks our hours often freezes. And it happens to all the stores. And we leave notes because we want to get paid for that day. Our note reads, I came in during this time to this time. Please put in my hours. But after 2 weeks later, I'm still missing those hours. And I tell my boss again, in person, please put in my hours on my paycheck. He says, okay, I'll go on the next paycheck. I just have to remind him every time. And he says he'll take care of it next time. To this day, I'm still waiting for my 5 hours. I've been held up twice. I had a gun pointed at me twice. Corporate did not care what I went through. The second robbery, attempted robbery, left me shaking and throwing up the whole time. And all they cared about was if anything was taken. And why did the cops close off the store? They didn't say anything about my well-being. Nobody from Human Resources, nobody asked how I was, because they didn't care. That's when I knew. I mean nothing to them. I'm just somebody to cover a shift that nobody wants.
Ms. Guzman, I know it's not easy to share that. And I appreciate your being here as a voice for all the people around this country who are having to do what you do. But I also want to say loud and clear about what this means, that a giant corporation would build its entire business model around squeezing workers like you and like Ms. McDonald and like Mr. Ramirez, and then count on the taxpayers to come up with food stamps, to come up with housing assistance, to come up with Medicaid, to come up with all the help that you need just barely to hold it together so they can maximize their profits. This is just not right in America. I believe in capitalism, but I believe that that means that these companies need to pay the full cost of keeping their workers working. And the full cost of keeping their workers working is paying you enough that you can actually be in that place day after day after day. You can put a roof over your head, that you can feed your children, that you can cover your medical costs. And right now, these companies want to privatize all the profits, and they want to push as many of the expenses off to your families and off to the taxpayers. This is fundamentally wrong. And this is why we are here today to talk about President-elect Trump's nominee for Secretary of Labor. This is a person who is supposed to stand up for working people across this country. The Republicans have not permitted us to bring real workers who have dealt with this nominee to the hearing. And so we had to have this special forum to bring you here. All I can say is thank you. Thank you for speaking out. Thank you for all of the workers who showed up. And believe me, we are going to make sure that workers' voices are heard. That's what democracy is supposed to be about. Thank you all for being here. This hearing is closed. Thank you.